Hello and welcome to Watch Releases Recap for the week of May 3rd until May 10th. Let's begin with Mido and their new Ocean Star 200C Carbon Limited Edition. Every time I bring up a Mido watch on this channel, I keep on talking about how underrated they are. And this model is no exception. So it's part of their Ocean Star diver / GMT line of watches. These are their sports watches. Arguably, it's probably their most popular line of watches, but it is still underappreciated. So this watch right here, I'm not kidding, is probably one of the best watch releases this year, and a lot of people are going to miss out because for some reason watch releases like this and watches like this don't get enough coverage. As the name would suggest, the watch comes in a carbon fiber case, which is super unique. The case has a very reasonable size as well, 42.5mm case diameter, a bit on the larger side, but for a diver, I think it's okay. It's only 12.3mm in case height, and it's 49mm like-to-like distance, which isn't too big. Generally speaking, these Ocean Star models wear pretty well. As the name would also suggest, this watch comes with 200 meters of water resistance. This model, like many other models, is powered by the Powermatic 80, which is a modified ETA 2824 that has 80 hours of power reserve and beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour with 25 joules. This model also comes with the ceramic bezel insert and a carbon fiber dial. As far as the complications go, this one has a day-date complication, and I think the integration of both the day and the date window is really good. It doesn't really stand out. It doesn't throw out the symmetry of the dial. The only thing that I don't like about the look of this watch is that writing limited edition by the 45 to 55 minute mark. It kind of looks off. Other than that, I like everything about this watch, especially the price. So get this, these watches are limited to 888 pieces and they're priced at $2,200 US, and that includes 2 different straps. That is incredible value. If it were any other Swiss brand, this watch would be 2-3 times more expensive. Just incredible. So well done, Mido. The new Tissot PRX Powermatic 80 and the PRX Chronograph with green dials. PRX models have been a huge success for Tissot. They really attracted a lot of attention from the watch community as well as from general public. In fact, I had 2 different friends that are not crazy watch fanatics ask about these watches, and one of them actually went ahead and bought one of these watches. Again, this just comes from a normal person who's not obsessed with watches. So that's how sort of popular and mainstream these models have become. And ever so often, Tissot is releasing a new dial version or maybe a different case color, like with the gold versions. This time it's a mint green dial, and I think it looks actually really sharp. This mint green dial comes in both the 35 and the 40mm case. The case height for both versions is exactly the same. It's just under 11mm. Both versions come with 100 meters of water resistance, and both of them are powered by the same Powermatic 80 movement with 80 hours of power reserve. It's actually the same movement that we can find in the Mido we just mentioned. Also from Tissot, there is the new PRX Chronograph. The chronograph version of PRX has been somewhat popular, but definitely not as popular as the time and date version because these watches are more expensive and just general public is not as attracted to chronographs as a lot of watch enthusiasts are. Like for example, myself, I personally probably prefer the chronograph version to the time-only version, but I might be in a minority here. And just like with the standard version, over the years we got a few different dial variations. This time there is a green dial, but it's a different shade of green. It's not a mint green, it's more dark, rich green color, and I actually prefer the way this green looks because the mint green looks fantastic for summer months, but wearing something like that in the winter doesn't really belong on the wrist as much. It looks kind of off versus having a more conservative green like this, you can pretty much wear all year round. The only thing that I don't like about the design of this watch, you probably guessed it by now, is that date window between the 4 and the 5. Why? Get rid of the date window and the dial layout will look so much better. Now in terms of the specs, this new version is exactly the same as all the other chronograph models in the catalog. It still comes in the same 42mm case, 14.5mm in case height. It's a bit thicker because it is accommodating an automatic chronograph movement. the Valjoux 7753, but in this case, they're calling it an ETA A05H31, which is exactly the same thing. It's just slightly modified, 28,800 vibrations per hour and 60 hours of power reserve. In terms of the pricing, the chronograph is 2,045 euro. It's about 2,000 US dollars. And the time-only version is about 775 euro, which is about 750 US dollars. Both versions look great, and I think both are a great addition to the catalog. The Grand Seiko Kodo Daybreak. A couple of years ago, Grand Seiko created their most complicated mechanical watch ever, and it actually won a bunch of awards. It was a super limited edition to 20 pieces, and it cost $350,000, as much as a lot of apartments do. Well, now 2024, there is sort of the V2 of that model. It is also a limited edition, and it is also crazy expensive. This year's model is actually more expensive than the one from 2 years ago. I guess the inflation got to it. It's 365,000 US dollars. So people that bought one 2 years ago are probably laughing all the way to the bank because they made $15,000. Companies create this super complicated watches that cost $500,000, sometimes millions of dollars, and somehow people buy them. The funny thing about this watch specifically, that it's a constant force tourbillon, which is kind of cool. It's a very difficult complication to achieve, but at the end of the day, right, it's a time-only watch. It's just a very beautiful way to tell the time. That's pretty much it. Again, not to take anything away from engineering behind it, because I know it's very complicated, and also they had to make it beautiful. It's not only making it complex, but also making it visually appealing. I get all of that. Plus, watches like this become sort of art instead of just utility. But at the end of the day, it's a time-only watch with a tourbillon complication, of course, for $365,000. It comes in a titanium case with the inner portion of the case made out of platinum. The case diameter is almost 44 millimeters. It's actually pretty reasonable in terms of case height, just under 13 millimeters. A lot of times watches like this come with super crazy thick cases because they're not actually meant to be worn. This one here you can wear if you want to wear your $365,000 watch, although I don't know how many people would. And it also comes with 100 meters of water resistance, which again, a lot of these crazy complicated watches don't. Just like the version from 2 years ago, it's limited to 20 pieces. Of course, it will go to super rich VIPs and maybe as gifts to some brand ambassadors, things like that. I don't know how many people actually take out $365,000 to buy one of these watches. It's kind of good that watch companies innovate and make watches like this because, as I said, other companies do it, so why not Grand Seiko? But on the other hand, what the hell? Like, who is this for? Who's buying this? Now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a couple of new releases from Citizen, another Japanese watch company. These watches are a lot cheaper than that Grand Seiko we just talked about. So first, let's talk about the new Citizen Super Titanium EcoDrive DayDate. Seems like Citizen is really focusing and embracing the design language of an integrated bracelet look. We've seen that with the Citizen 8 series, then with the Super Titanium watch that I covered a couple of weeks ago. That one looked really cool. Now we have an EcoDrive DayDate one, and I think this one is by far the best one out of the bunch. So far there are 3 different color dials. There is the ice blue, there is sort of the dark blue, and this orange/salmon one. Out of the 3, I like this ice blue one the best. I think that looks really sharp. Whichever dial version you choose, they all come in the same case. It's made out of super titanium, which is Citizen's proprietary way to create titanium cases. It's a different titanium metal blend, but essentially it's titanium. It has a 39.5 millimeter case diameter, and it's only 9.8 millimeters case height because these ones are powered by the quartz EcoDrive movement. The EcoDrive movements from Citizen are fantastic. This one is the caliber J800-00M. It has 240 days of power reserve. So if you have this watch out of rotation, it can stay in a watch box in a dark room for up to 240 days. It is also very accurate to plus minus 15 seconds per month. In other words, half a second per day. The design of this model is also very attractive, at least to me it is. It comes with applied indexes. I like the set of hands. I like the DayDate complication at the 3 o'clock position. All of that looks great, and the prices are, in my opinion, very reasonable. So all three models have exactly the same price, $350 or 350 euro, which is very good. I think that's exactly how much a watch like this should cost. There's another Citizen release. This one is called the Super Titanium EcoDrive Chrono. Just like the DayDate model we talked about, this one is a brand new model in the catalog. It kind of looks like the Series 8 and other offerings from Citizen. I guess they're really embracing this sort of look, and I think this chrono actually looks even better than the DayDate version. It comes in a larger Super Titanium case. This one is 42.5mm case diameter, but it's only 11.6mm in case height, once again because it is powered by the EcoDrive chronograph movement. Called Citizen Caliber B620-00M movement. It is an EcoDrive quartz movement with 24-hour display and the same stated accuracy of plus or minus 15 seconds per day. It also comes with a date complication. Not a big fan of this date placement, and this new chronograph model is available in 4 different dial options. My favorite is actually the Panda. I think that looks really sharp. If you remember, a few years ago, Seiko released the Speed Timer Panda, and that made all the headlines. It was sort of the Daytona alternative and all the memes and all of that. I think this watch here looks better and makes more sense. The only couple of things that I'm not a big fan of, one of them I already talked about, is the date window placement between 4 and 5. I just don't like that look. Secondly, not a huge fan of this clasp. It just looks like a pressed metal clasp, which I think for the price this watch deserves a bit better. These ones are priced at 450 euro. It's exactly the same price in US dollars, which is not a ton of money, but around 500 bucks, you are expecting sort of a scissor engineered clasp as opposed to these cheap pressed metal clasps. And because it's an integrated bracelet design, unfortunately, there is no easy way to swap it for a different bracelet or a different strap. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this week's releases. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching this video all the way until the end, and we'll see you next time. Bye.